Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the coveted offensive and defensive Notre Dame target boards. Started this, I believe, in January on both sides of the ball. Loved them, got great views, got great interaction. That's what I strive for on this channel. That's what I hope these videos get out of. I love answering all the comments. I answer all the comments. So feel free to drop one down below. And just talking Notre Dame recruiting is such a blast. And I don't know, I love having my own little target board, similar to how some of the sites do it, but I don't know. Just make a little document. Takes me maybe an hour or so, but I really enjoy it. Well worth my time. Starting off with running back, I will not be including committed players. Notre Dame currently has 11 committed players as of 3/17 at around 9 p.m. Eastern while I'm making this video. Big news, Joshua Burnham committed. I would have made a video on it right when it came out, but I was in the middle of a water polo practice. I was not able to do that. I will name off those commits really quickly. Joey Tenona, offensive tackle from Zionsville, Indiana. Jadarian Price, running back from Texas. Ty Chan, offensive tackle from Massachusetts. Nolan Ziegler, rover safety linebacker from Michigan. Jaden Mickey, DB from California. Aiden Gobiara, defensive end from Virginia. Steve Angeli, of course, the quarterback from New Jersey. Amarion Walker from Louisiana. He's a wide receiver. Jack Nickel, tight end from Alpharetta, Georgia. Tyson Ford, defensive end from St. Louis, Missouri. And then Joshua Burnham, the most recent Notre Dame commit from Traverse City, Michigan. So getting that out there really quickly. But let's start. Zach Evans is a guy that Notre Dame's keeping warm, but they're not putting all their eggs in his basket for obvious reasons. He has 12 offers, not the greatest, but he's a very good plan B option. If guys like Gabrian Payne, Dallin Hayden, and Nicholas Singleton, even Gavin Sawchuk fall off the board, you need some decent plan B options. And Zach Evans is a really good plan B option. Baylor's recruiting him very heavy, same with Utah. At this current juncture, I really have no clue where he's going. My pick is in for Utah, but it's kind of just a random pick. He's a high academic kid, though. Have that in mind. And he loves Notre Dame. But I just don't know if he's a take for Notre Dame in this class. Damari Alston is a guy that is a national recruit. 48 offers. Plays for Woodward Academy down in Georgia. Ohio State's probably at the top of his list right now. I know Florida was on him. Georgia Tech as well. I do like him to end up with the Buckeyes. He's one of those big Instagram and Twitter guys in this 2022 class. A lot of personalities on there. And he's all over Ohio State Instagram. CJ Hicks, Deshaun McCullough, especially Deshaun McCullough. That dude is hilarious. He is a high four-star linebacker commit for Ohio State, if anyone's curious. And he's like the Blake Fisher of the Ohio State class, for you guys that know Blake Fisher and know his presence on Twitter and Instagram with other recruits. Damari Alston is getting pressured to go to Ohio State by Deshaun McCullough. Will he go there? I think so, at least at this current moment. But ton of offers, ton of suitors. That'll be an interesting recruitment. Don't think Notre Dame is at the top of this list. Gabrian Payne is a guy highly rated. I wouldn't say highly recruited as a top 5 of Penn State, Northwestern, Florida, Alabama, and Notre Dame. At this current moment, I think Florida leads. He wants to get down to Gainesville to visit. Notre Dame's keeping him warm. He's not a number 1 or number 2 guy. I would say Sawchuk, Hayden, and Singleton are all 1A right now. He's probably in 1B with Alston and Evans, but talented guy nevertheless. I like him ending up at Florida at this current moment. I'm going to skip to Gavin Sawchuk. Don't think he's very likely. Oklahoma and Michigan and Stanford definitely are the top 3 there. Unofficial top 3, I will say. Oklahoma, I think, will land him. If Oklahoma can land Relief Brown and Gavin Sawchuk in one recruiting back cycle, that would be just absolutely nuts. Super talented. Lance Taylor was on him early. It kind of faded over quarantine through the summer and fall. But he values academics. Stanford and Michigan are in his top 3, so you know he has good grades and he cares about that stuff. But yeah, Gavin Sawchuk, super talented. I don't like him to end up in Notre Dame. However, I'm going to skip to Hayden. He actually will be on campus the 18th. I'm filming this on the 17th. He's at Ohio State earlier today. Has a top 4 of Tennessee, Oregon, Ohio State, and Notre Dame. Has a top I guess 7 of Utah, Illinois, I believe it is Penn State. He's expanded his list. I don't think contact with Oregon has been going all so great, so I guess you could call it a top 6. Right now, I like Notre Dame here, though. I think it's Notre Dame-Ohio State battle. His father played for the Volunteers in the 90s. Not really loving Tennessee, though. There is, of course, corruption in the program. McDonald's can only hand out so much money. And then you got Illinois, which was a pretty weird addition to his top 4 at the time. But his older brother committed under Brett Bielema at Arkansas, played some college ball there. And he's going to Illinois, where Brett Bielema has taken over. Hoping to get the Illini program back on track. He's a graduate, though. He only has 1 year of eligibility, so it's not like Hayden will be there with him. But nevertheless, Hayden has Illinois on that list. Right now, I think it's just a strict Ohio State-Notre Dame battle. I will say, if Notre Dame lands Hayden, they're most likely done with running back recruiting this year. They're only going to take 2 backs, so they already have Jadarian Price. But then I believe Ohio State will go all out on Nicholas Singleton and DeMar Alston. They currently have 0 backs committed. I think they're only going to take 1. But I think Alston and Singleton are both top of the board guys, just with Hayden. Going to Nick Singleton, Ohio State leads right now. I think Penn State and Notre Dame are trailing in 2nd and 3rd, respectively. Penn State probably 2nd. Alabama offered a week or so ago, which was definitely big for him. I think they go right up in that unofficial top 4 here, at least the top 9. About a week ago, too, a few days after that Bama offer. Right now, I don't think he ends up at Notre Dame. He's been on campus twice. He's playing the long game. I don't think Lance Taylor and company stick around for it. If Hayden commits, they're done. If Hayden decides to go to Ohio State, though, and Ohio State only takes 1 back, look for Brian Kelly and Lance Taylor to just go all out on Nick Singleton. If they don't land him, Brian Payne's still there, and Zach Evans is still there. Solid option. Solid option. Let's go to the wide receivers, and this board is loaded. Loaded. I hate all the Dell Alexander hype. I think Dell Alexander is actually a very good coach. But I'm starting with Caden Saunders, the guy who is currently committed to Penn State. I actually asked Caden Saunders, is he still committed to Penn State? I just bluntly asked him in an Instagram Live, and he said yes. And I also asked him, are you talking with Notre Dame? Do you like Notre Dame? He said, yeah, I love Notre Dame. I'm talking with them. That's what he gave me. I also talked to Xavier Wampa. I was trolling him, though. I was not really asking real questions. But yeah, Caden Saunders, super cool dude. I think he's going to stick this Penn State pledge out. He was at a 7-on-7 tournament with Drew Aller, I believe, over the weekend. He's close friends with him now because they both live near each other in Ohio, and they're getting to bond virtually. I think Caden Saunders, though, is one hell of a talent. He would just bring much-needed speed to this Notre Dame class. Now, if he gets that Ohio State offer, I think Ohio State could very well lock him up. He does have a Bama offer, though. He got that, I believe, 2.5 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. But Caden Saunders, super talented guy. I'm a big fan of him. Speed. Andre Green is a guy that isn't talked about too much. This dude has 52 offers, guys. 52 offers. He's from St. Christopher's School in Richmond, Virginia. I think UNC probably leads right now. Notre Dame's definitely up there. If Notre Dame misses out on some of their bigger body targets like Tobias Merriweather, who I'll talk about in a second, I think they go right to him. Andre Green will stay patient. He has not visited Notre Dame yet, but he will, I believe, this summer or this fall. And if he does that, and Tobias Merriweather ends up at Stanford or Oregon, you can definitely see Andre Green in this class. But that's besides the point. Super talented guy. I like him a lot. Tyler Morris, I'd say he's probably target 2 right now. I'd say C.J. Williams is 1. Tyler Morris is 2. This has been a Michigan-Notre Dame battle from the get-go. Nobody's going to disagree with that. J.J. McCarthy was his high school quarterback until his senior year. Tyler Morris is junior year, a.k.a. this season when J.J. went to IMG to finish out his season. It's going to be interesting. It's really going to be interesting. Tyler Morris, though, I will note, does play 7-on-7 ball with Boom Chicago. His quarterback is Steve Angeli there. He's also good friends with Sebastian Cheeks. Sebastian Cheeks looks like a heavy Notre Dame lean at this point. So you got some good stuff going for you. Tom Reese has a great connection with him. We'll see what happens here. I really couldn't tell you. I think it's really 50-50. I have Notre Dame in there just kind of for fun, for tricks. But yeah, that's what I'm going with on Morris. CJ Williams is a guy that is getting love from everywhere. At least a top 16. I believe he's going to trim that down to a top 8 or 10 soon. Dad played ball at Bama. I think Bama was probably first or second with Texas and Ohio State in second and third. And then Notre Dame's in fourth. Williams was supposed to go to Notre Dame in March. It might have been June, actually. That trip didn't happen. He's really trying to get there, though, this summer. Super high religious kid, super high academic kid. If he doesn't go to Bama, I could legitimately see him at Notre Dame. And Notre Dame is 100% a dark horse here. I think Williams is maybe the best wide receiver in the country. Super developed. Route running is amazing. He's big, 6'2", 200 pounds. I'll also mention that he's good friends with Cooper Barakate, a safety target that I will touch on in the defensive target board video. But yeah, CJ Williams, talented guy. Notre Dame is probably fourth or fifth right now in regards to his recruitment. And then Caleb Brown is a guy. Notre Dame has been generating buzz here and there. I don't believe the hype though. He's talented. Runs probably a 4.4, a 4.45, 4.35. I think he's going to end up at Alabama. I've been saying this for like a month or so now. I actually think he's an Alabama kid. Alabama does recruit the Chicago area well. Jalen Billingsley, a current wide receiver, tight end, I guess, flex option, came from the Chicago area before playing high school ball at IMG. But I think Caleb Brown's going to end up at either Ohio State or Bama, which is probably the least guessed pick right now. A lot of people have him at Michigan. Some people say maybe there's a shot in Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame is prioritizing other guys at this point. They're focusing their attention on Tyler Morris, on Xavier Bradshaw, who we'll talk about in a second, Tobias Merriweather, CJ Williams. Caleb Brown, talented kid. I don't think he ends up in Notre Dame, though. Tobias Merriweather is another talented kid, and I could see him ending up at Notre Dame. You got Oregon, Stanford, and Notre Dame in a solid top three when you're talking about his recruitment. I don't know the specifics of this, but I read this somewhere. I believe Greg Huffman made an article on it on 247. Shout out to him. Love his stuff. I also only use free content to talk about this stuff. I'm not stealing any premium info. That's just scummy. I believe this was a free article on Tobias's recruitment, on how he's taking it slow and whatnot. Tobias Merriweather said a few years ago he could have went to any college football stadium/game for a weekend in the country. He decided to go to Notre Dame over all those schools. For a Washington kid or a Portland kid to do that was massive. Loved Notre Dame, and he decided this is where I want to go to see this game. Could have went anywhere. Could have went USC. Could have went Bama. Could have went Florida, FSU, Clemson, Penn State. He decided to go to Notre Dame. So that was huge. Super high academic kid. I believe he carries a very high GPA. And he's a 6'4", 180 guy. Chase Claypool, Miles Boykin, written all over him. And Dell Alexander is targeting him very hard right now. I do not expect a commitment soon. He wants to take his visits, absolutely. He has every right to do so. But I don't know if he's a take no matter what. I don't know if he's a Cyrus Moss or a Zach Rice or a Kamari Rogers. But I'd sure take him no matter what. Love his game. Moving on to the next wide receiver board, you see Omar Cooper there, a guy who does not currently hold a Notre Dame offer. I think this might change. Reggie Florima earlier today committed to Northwestern. Do I think Notre Dame could still flip Reggie Florima? Absolutely. I think Reggie Florima, I believe I made a Notre Dame locks video about 3 months ago, and I had Reggie Florima on that list. I could 100% see Reggie Florima ending up at Notre Dame. But Omar Cooper, I think, is more talented. He's faster. He's what Notre Dame needs. Del Alexander is in contact with him. I don't think an offer will come in the next few weeks. They're going to see how things play out with other targets. But yeah, that's all I got on Omar Cooper. He does not hold an offer for anyone wondering. I have no clue who the leader is there. I'd say probably Indiana. That's just a guess, though, because his high school quarterback, Donovan McMillan Jr., is the current, will be the next Indiana starting quarterback once Michael Penix Jr. graduates. But Addison Copeland is another guy that people aren't so high on, but I am. He has offers from Rutgers, Penn State, Boston College, Notre Dame, Indiana. Was a one-time Rutgers commit, decommitted about 35 minutes after Notre Dame offered. I believe that was in early February. Yeah, February 9th. There we go. Notre Dame's not putting the pressure on. I think he's a guy of Tobias Merriweather or Tyler Morris, Caden Saunders. If those guys don't work out, they're falling to him. Talented guy, though, definitely deserves a higher rating than a 5.5. I will say that till I die. And I believe he will be moved up. He has not played in so long, and his junior season will start in a few weeks. Antonio Williams is a guy that a lot of Notre Dame fans don't know about that much. He's from South Carolina, doesn't really have a leader. I think if Clemson offers, Clemson is automatically the leader, as they are with most Carolina kids, especially South Carolina kids. But I love his game, 6'1", 180, has speed, and has a little bit of size, is bulky. South Carolina leads right now, but if Notre Dame were to push, I do think he would end up in the Bend. Drew Williams, another guy that I think if Notre Dame pushes, he will end up there. From Saraland High School, has had a lot of pretty crazy numbers he's put up, especially running wise. I believe he runs like a 4.3. He is so fast. When you're talking about speed, Notre Dame is recruiting speed. Don't get mad at Del Alexander and company. They are recruiting speed guys. Don't worry about that. And Joe Williams is one of them. No really leader there. Florida State is involved. But I think Notre Dame leads, and Notre Dame is in a very solid place when it comes to his recruitment. Xavier Bradshaw is a guy that if Notre Dame pushes, they'll have. And I think actually he will end up in Notre Dame sooner rather than later. This could be a few weeks or months, guys. Doesn't have the huge offers, only has 9 offers. I get that. But when you pop on his tape, I saw this clip on Twitter of him. Oh, my goodness. Speed, elusiveness. His dad is Ahmad Bradshaw for anyone curious. So he has the NFL bloodlines. And I think Notre Dame leads. I think Notre Dame does end up with him when push comes to shove. I'd also like to mention Notre Dame will not be taking more than 3 wide receivers unless maybe Caleb Brown or C.J. Williams has a change in heart. I really think they're going to end up with 3. The combination of that, who knows? Amarion Walker, I didn't love that they let him commit. I like Amarion Walker. He runs a 10.5, 100-meter in track, by the way, which is crazy. But Xavier Bradshaw, talented, we'll see. DJ Allen, I'm not too filled in on his recruitment. I have him on here. Has a really impressive junior film. Not really sure in his recruitment. I'm going to move on to tight end, where Notre Dame has 2 guys, and 2 guys only left on the board. Holden Stays is a guy that was committed to Penn State for a long period of time. Opened things back up, and the school floodgates came in. Texas, North Carolina, Alabama, Georgia, Notre Dame, all these schools are coming at him and coming at him hard. I do think he ends up in Notre Dame. I'm pretty confident when I say that. I will also mention, when I screenshotted these things, the picks are more in for Notre Dame now. I would just like to mention that. I think I took these screenshots maybe 2 weeks ago, as I've had this video in the waiting for a while. But Holden States is a guy I like to end up at Notre Dame. And I believe he could commit in the next few days or week or so. Look out for that, especially if he gets on campus. And I think his spring break is coming up. So keep an eye on that. Definitely a guy to monitor. Eli Raridon it's a Notre Dame legacy. His dad played with Brady Quinn in the mid-2000s. Yes, he had his kid in college. Don't flame him. Many people do. So young. His dad, I believe, is in his mid-30s. Lives in Des Moines, Iowa. Plays basketball and football. He's in the middle of his basketball season, so he's not super locked in with recruiting, which might end up hurting him. I think State I think if Stays commits, Notre Dame will not take Reardon. I don't think he's a take when push comes to shove. I wouldn't say take. I don't think they'd make space for him instead of another position because Notre Dame is looking flat out solid all across the board. But Reardon, like his game, 6'6", 220 pounds, nothing to dislike there. It really depends if Stays commits. If Stays goes elsewhere, and I think he will commit to whatever school he is going to sign to soon, then I think Reardon commits pretty much on the spot, and there you go, tight end recruiting done. If Stays commits and Reardon is still on the board, then it poses some questions. Do you take Reardon? Do you take 3 tight ends in a cycle that you were originally only going to take 1? For pretty much 5-6 months, guys, Jack Nickel was going to be the lone Notre Dame tight end commit / signee in this class. His pledge, by the way, is rock solid. He's not going anywhere. But yeah, questions all across the board when it comes to quarterback, running back, running back, wide receiver, tight end, and offensive line. And to end it, I will be going to the offensive line, where we start off with Zach Rice. Put him in the thumbnail, same with Gavin Sawchuk. That was a little bit of clickbait. I'm sorry, guys. Zach Rice, not loving Notre Dame right now. Alabama is just mauling after him. Doug Marrone, former Jaguars head coach, is now the Alabama offensive line coach. That definitely doesn't help Notre Dame. Has an unofficial / official top 3 of Ohio State, North Carolina, and Notre Dame. I definitely put Virginia and Bama in there. I'd call it a top 5. And I think he'd admit that. But Zach Rice, puzzling kid, puzzling recruitment. Super talented, though. He definitely warrants his 5-star status. He's had a monster junior season so far for Liberty Christian Academy in Lynchburg, Virginia. I've been watching some of his highlights. Boy, he's a mauler. Tyler Booker is a guy that goes to IMG. I believe he's originally from Maryland or Philly. I might be wrong there. Florida, though, is looking like they're in the lead. I have Penn State. There's some underground Penn State buzz when it comes to his recruitment. Notre Dame is a sneaky contender. I think Notre Dame just has options that they're higher up on the board with. And Jeff Quinn is going to have a super busy 2023 cycle. I will say that early on. They're going to have some studs that they're in the running for. But Booker, talented guy. I think Notre Dame's probably running 3rd, 4th, or 5th at this current moment. Ohio State, Bama, Florida, Penn State are probably in front. But Notre Dame's definitely a dark horse nevertheless. Joe Bruner is a guy that has visited campus. I think he's going to end up at Wisconsin. Notre Dame isn't pushing too hard. And you guys are going to say, well, he's a top 60 recruit. Why aren't they pushing? Notre Dame has their different guys. Billy Scrouth is a guy that Jeff Quinn just absolutely loves. If Jeff Quinn was making these rankings, I promise you Billy Scrouth would be at least a top 75 guy. Notre Dame doesn't care about these rankings. But Bruner, talented guy nevertheless. Now, Carson Hinsman, this is a guy that has been on an uptick for Notre Dame. I've interacted with him on social media a few times. Super cool dude. How do you think he's going to end up at Notre Dame? This is kind of a surprise pick. All the CVs, all the future casts are to Wisconsin. He visited for Junior Day back in, I believe it was February or January. I'm getting my dates all mixed up in my head with his dad. But this is just going to be a Notre Dame-Wisconsin battle to the end. He is from Hammond, Wisconsin, which is northern Wisconsin. Values academics, though, and I think in the end that will help Notre Dame. Not to count out that Wisconsin isn't a good school. They are. I just think Notre Dame is elite when it comes to that. And offensive line U is in South Bend, not Madison, Wisconsin. Though I will say Wisconsin is probably the second best school for offensive linemen. Joe Thomas, one guy that went there. Emil Wagner. Recruitment has blown up recently, really blown up. His brother played ball at Kentucky. I believe he no longer does. This is going to be a Notre Dame-Ohio State showdown, though. He received an Ohio State offer 1 week ago, week and a half ago, 5 days ago, something like that. Now, he does attend Wayne High School. 2 guys that attend Wayne High School are Mike Mickens and Marcus Freeman. Yes, the defensive recruiting duo. They played high school ball there, and they're both recruiting them. You would think, oh, Jeff Quinn, Brian Kelly's helping out, Tommy Reese is helping out. No. Jeff Quinn, and then I'd go to Marcus Freeman and Mike Mickens. They want him to feel that connection. They, of course, have ties to the Dayton area, to the Dayton suburbs where he lives in Hoover Heights, Ohio. So got to watch out for. And a guy that will most likely visit soon, Billy Scrouth. I thought Billy Scrouth would be committed by now. I'm going to be completely honest. As a top 4, Michigan, Ohio State, Wisconsin, Notre Dame. Notre Dame's firmly in the lead there. Wisconsin's definitely running second, but I definitely like him to end up in the blue and gold in the next coming months. I think he wants to take probably one more, he's taking a visit. He's taking one visit. If he takes one more visit, I think that locks things up. And yeah. Oh, wait. One more slide. Here we go. Jake Taylor, Grant Bingham. 2 more guys. Grant Bingham, I'm going to start with him because I think Taylor is a guy that many of you guys are wondering about. I'll leave you on the edge of your seats for a second. Grant Bingham, huge fan of his game. 6'6", 300+ already as a junior. Kentucky's probably leading. I don't know why I might pick for Notre Dame. Excuse that. Now, if Notre Dame misses out on Wagner, on Hinsman, on Taylor, they're going to go to Bingham, and I think he'll commit and sign. But right now, he's not a top-of-the-board guy for obvious reasons. They have better guys to look out for. I would not be mad by any reason, though, and I don't think you fans should be mad either if Bingham is one of the O-line recruits. He's talented. He's a top 250 guy on Rivals and a top 300 guy on 247. That's crazy that he's not considered a top target. At pretty much any other school in the country, he would be. But yes, Notre Dame's going for elite, and Notre Dame is only going for the best. Jake Taylor. Now, this is a guy the Notre Dame fans definitely and 100% should know about. Has the top 3 of Alabama, Oklahoma, and Notre Dame. The picks are in for Oklahoma. Now, does Oklahoma have the lead right now? Yes. If you were to go back 2 months, I think Notre Dame would be firmly in the lead. Now, he has visited Oklahoma. He has not visited Tuscaloosa and South Bend. If he can get to Tuscaloosa and South Bend, it changes things. If he gets to Tuscaloosa, Notre Dame's probably falling out. If he gets to South Bend only, Notre Dame's probably in the lead. It's how it goes. For his birthday, he went down to Norman, saw an Oklahoma game. Good for him. Nico Ferretti, I will also say, is Bishop Gorman's defensive coordinator or linebackers coach. Bishop Gorman is a powerhouse school out there in Vegas. And he definitely is in Jake Taylor's ear telling him about all the things Notre Dame will do for you on the football field and off the football field. I don't think Taylor is a guy that will commit very soon. I think he wants to take his visits and be a little patient. And I think Jeff Quinn is fine with that. And I think he is to take no matter what. If he does end up pushing his timeline back to maybe the fall, winter, even late summer, Jeff Quinn will wait. And Jake Taylor really depends on these other recruitments. Grant Bingham will not be in this class if Jake Taylor is in this class. A lot of these guys will depend on Jake Taylor as he is a 1A guy from Notre Dame, and I believe he should be. His 5.8 Rivals rating, damn, that's low. He's going to show it on the field this year. Cyrus Moss is one of his teammates, too. I will point that out. So if you're a Notre Dame fan in the Vegas area, you better go check out Bishop Gorman. I don't know if they're allowing fans or not, but Notre Dame fans have a lot to like. There's Zion Branch, too, is another guy that I believe plays for Bishop Gorman. Didn't include Notre Dame in his top 11. Not really sure what's going on there, but Jake Taylor, Cyrus Moss, 2 notable Bishop Gorman studs. And yeah, we're just at about 30 minutes. I'm going to wrap this video up. Thank you guys for watching. I went through running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, and offensive linemen today. I'll scroll back really quickly if you guys are just watching live here. Yeah, we'll see. I expect a ton of new commitments in the next week or so. I wouldn't say ton. I expect maybe 1 or 2 in the next few weeks. Notre Dame currently has the number 2 ranked recruiting class in the country on 247. That is huge, guys. That is huge. Will they keep it? They were, of course, number 1 at some point in last year's class. No, they will not stay number 2. That is absurd to think that. Do I think they will finish in the top 9? My goal is number 8. They were 9 last year on 247. Let's get to 8. That's how I roll. Let's always try to progress. And you got Marcus Freeman this year, baby. You got Marcus Freeman. So, yeah, that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, Make sure you subscribe, comment. I respond to every single comment unless it's just completely stupid. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Defensive target board will be out in the next 2-3 days, hopefully in the next day or two, though. Yes, that's it. End of the video, guys. Thank you.